Hello, everyone! It's Christy and Kevin in the morning. That was it. That was my intro.
It is. Well, technically, that's a lie because it's not the morning for you anymore.
Well, it's up only by a minute. So, yeah. We can adapt that. Christy and Kevin in the evening. There are shows, but we shouldn't. That would be obnoxious. Hello, Kevin! Happy Sunday. Still morning your time. How are you?
It is. It is. I can't believe that as a good Catholic girl, you've made me work on a day of rest.
Yeah, but you're always out there pimping on the day of rest. So,
I am.
Bring it 7 days a week.
Well, I am certified freak.
Mm-hmm.
At least 7 days a week.
Yeah, make that pull-it game week.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we were saying before we got on air, but you didn't say too much about it. We had a bit of a mind meld in our content creation yesterday.
I think you mean mind meld.
Yeah,
please.
That's what I said.
I thought you said melt.
No. I just had a very good enunciation for an American.
For an American?
Yeah, it's the influence of practicing my Scottish accent. They're very crisp with the consonants. In that accent.
Well, the ones that aren't on the verge of overdosing on heroin, yes.
Yeah,
that is true.
That's true. Anyway, so I decided I was going to do a video. I'm trying to do at least one edited video per week, and I was like, well, what am I going to do for content? I wanted to be able to refute some of the edgelord crap. Oh, by the way, I try to make this monetizable, so if you can keep the swearing down a bit on my Sunday show, Sunday morning.
Okay.
Like, let's just try, just try. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's the only
monetizable
monetizable
content. Did a narcotics
content.
joke, so I mean, you should have told me before.
Yeah, you're right. I forget. Anyway, yeah. So the thing I was saying was right. I was like, oh, it would be really handy if I understood the court case, and I don't like reading PDFs. So I'm like, if I have to sit through this anyway, I might as well read it out loud. And
what's the issue with reading PDFs specifically?
I think it has to do with the white background and the small text, and you end up having to blow it up. It's not very conducive to reading on a screen, I generally find.
So that's Christy threatening to blow up a court. Okay.
Yes. Oh, you had a slightly different tact.
Yeah.
That you took. So you want to tell us about your stream last night?
Yeah, I did a stream. It wasn't just about it. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was fully aware of how much of a massive loser Donald Trump is. Mm-hmm. So I went through the Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin, of course, recount, or partial recount, where Donald Trump spent $3 million to increase Joe Biden's lead.
Thanks, Don. Yeah, I mean, I said they found 400 more votes in Milwaukee County that they, missed in the first time. That was only ever going to help Biden.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah.
Literally the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, if they found votes anywhere, like, they really should have done counts in all the other counties but those counties. Because if they find votes in those counties, they're not going to help Trump.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, but the point is, isn't he supposed to be, like, his USP before becoming president was he was a businessman who could do deals.
Mm-hmm.
He just he just urinated $3 million up the wall.
Yes. He's really good at spending other people's money, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like his life skill forte. Like, his proficiency is in spending other people's money. Yeah, and so you went through the recount. Now, you went through like the documents for the recount or what?
No, I just read an article and said that this is ridiculous. He's an idiot, which is true. And then I went through the court case document from the Pennsylvania 3rd District Court. Oh, sorry, District Court.
Yep.
Which is the new way you have to spell it in America. It's been decided. That's a Sidney Powell joke. And I went through the actual court document, all 21 pages of it. And Trump's own appointed judge, Bibas, absolutely devastating him.
Oh,
which
yes.
is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. So it took an hour for me to read it out and record it, and then I managed to edit it down to 42 minutes with an intro and a wrap-up bit. I still have to add the timestamps. I have them in notes, but I haven't added yet. How long did yours? I think someone said you were on 70 minutes and you were still on page 17? So how long did you end up going through it?
Well, I'm not entirely sure how long that section took, but it must have been 2 hours. But I was reading and like commenting. I wasn't
Yes,
just like reading
yes,
it out.
yeah.
So yeah, I tried to, and I skipped past some legalese bits
Oh, okay.
because there's no point like reading that bit out because I mean, A, I don't understand it, and B,
Right.
it's not the point. I would just want to read out the bits where he's like, Donald Trump, this is ridiculous. You've got nothing. This case is pointless and meaningless. And not just that, but kind of laying the law down for the Supreme Court if it did decide to take the case up, but
Oh, it
basically
won't.
saying this is, oh no, obviously it won't, but just in case, this is state law.
Yeah. You can't repackage it and make it federalize it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's nonsense. And even if they did, again, there's no. Literally, it's so odd that they tried to federalize it because the whole point of the Equal Protection Clause is that you have to show some sort of different treatment. And they literally don't claim that the Trump campaign or voters were treated differently than the Biden campaign. So they've got literally nothing.
Yes, and I think this was the point that I wanted to understand because the way that it was presented I think we're calling her now officially Carly B, right?
Carly B, yes.
Carly B. She was rereading that article from the National Review, I think it was, and a Bush v. Gore attorney. And the whole idea was that you had to be treated equally. And reading the decision, it both made me understand and it made me kind of go like side-eye. But this idea that equal treatment doesn't mean static, uniform treatment everywhere. It means everyone within a locality is treated the same. Therefore, if you have a county in Pennsylvania, which is run by Democrats, and they decide in that county, we're going to contact voters, but we're going to contact all voters who have a problem. You know, we're not going to look at the ballots and only contact Democratic voters. Everyone in our county gets a chance to cure any defects in their ballots. And a Republican county just doesn't bother and contacts nobody. That's actually still equal treatment under the law because you were all treated the same within how the counties implemented it. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Well, there are a couple of points. I think it's worth always reminding Republicans that states' rights as a legal concept extends beyond just racism and guns. It's a literal legal doctrine. And so, frankly, the fact that you don't like it, tough, the Pennsylvania legislature has decided. And secondly, this is another example of the Republicans shooting themselves in the foot. You'll notice I've cleaned that sentence up from what I would have said. You're very welcome. See, I can do monetizable content.
Kevin in the morning.
Exactly. You have to come for the happy hour for the
for the adult version of this.
Exactly. Yeah. They shoot themselves in the foot because in areas that they control, their general "let's not allow people to vote" strategy is really ridiculous because. I mean, it's anti-democratic and disgusting, of course, but it's self-defeating because they chose to say, "Don't vote by mail." So when the mail-in ballots were counted, they lost. And then in Republican-controlled districts, who therefore have a majority Republican voting base there, they've decided not to allow or not to follow the cure and contact and cure policy,
right?
Which means that they're just essentially disenfranchising more Republican voters. So it's self-defeating. Their whole let's try and stop. They seem to have forgotten that they're trying to disenfranchise like black people, but in Republican-controlled districts, they're disenfranchising white people too.
Yeah, they don't really see. Yes, I mean, I think they just don't always understand the implications. They think it's going to harm more black voters or people of color than white, but it's still going to harm some white voters.
Well, yeah, in rural Pennsylvania, let's be honest, there are no black people.
Well, well, not enough to sort of like, be a targetable population, like, with ads or, with...
Exactly, yeah. Like, I get why they're trying to disenfranchise Philadelphia, because lots of black people there, and Detroit, and you'll notice the places they're doing recounts, it's where the black people live.
Yes.
Which, again, is sort of self-defeating in the sense that if they find votes, they're likely to be for Joe Biden. But I think they're hoping that they can invalidate some of them, but it's not going to happen.
No, it hasn't been happening.
You can stack the courts, but they're still judges. They're not like, I don't even know how to say it, lunatics or whatever. Like there's no evidence for any of this. Like even if they wanted to try and help you do a fascism, you have to give them some evidence.
Something. Yeah. And I think if anything, all of this investigation in these court cases have demonstrated how hard it is to do a massive fraud in the United States, because I mean, first, no one was even trying.
Yeah, exactly.
But the second is, there's a lot of steps about, if you want an absentee ballot, you have to make a request with your driver's license or your social security number and a photo ID. And then there's also places where there are signature matchings and other steps to kind of prevent that fraud. So that's why we see so little voter fraud. It's actually really difficult to manage. And
and a brilliant example of that is cited by the judge in the opinion, which is like the judgment. We call them judgments here, whatever. Anyway, the case, I forget the names. I've totally forgotten off the top of my head. But anyway, there's a case from 1994 where a guy actually had engaged in voter fraud.
The Stimson case.
Stimson.
Marx,
there we go.
Marx v. Stimson or something?
Marx v. Yes, because I did the Karl Marx joke, obviously. Even though it's spelled like Marks.
Yeah.
Anyway, Marx v. Stimson in 94, which was like a local election, rather than like a federal one, but whatever, the same rule applies. There was an actual genuine voter fraud where I think it was something like 600 ish ballots had been essentially fraudulently created or fraudulently entered.
Yeah.
And that was caught. So if in 1994 they were able to catch a 600 vote fraud, how in the name of all that is holy and righteous were they able to get away with tens of millions of voter frauds?
Yes. And if these machines supposedly change the votes, then how does a hand recounting not show that? Yeah. Shouldn't, if you put something in the machine and the machine changed the vote, the votes would be different at the end. But in Georgia, they weren't. In Milwaukee, they weren't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get the impression that Sidney Powell is... let me compute for a second to clean up for monetization.
Okay.
A fool.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, is there a Roar Cat's cleaning himself behind us? Is that what that movement is in your window?
I believe it is. Yes, that is. That is Rory Cat's there. You can just see him
taking a bath.
No, you don't care. Anyway, yeah. No, you'll probably see him pop out at some point, and then I'll put him on camera or something.
So what are your thoughts on the idea that by moving counties, you could change your experience of, let's say, curing your ballot in the state of Pennsylvania, and that's not a violation of equal protection under the law?
I don't know. Well, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think to be honest, this is brings it back to the larger point of I don't think the states should make these laws. I think it should be uniform, especially for federal elections. So I don't like that. I think that's really silly, and I think that should be a violation of the law, but clearly it isn't. I mean, it's settled. It's, the precedent has been very, very firmly set. But yeah, it shouldn't be the case. I think, especially for federal elections, although even on local level, it should be uniform. If indeed you are a country, even a federalist country, your experience and right of voting should be the same in Pennsylvania as it is in Alabama and California and Oregon and wherever.
I am very much of the same opinion. I think that it's ridiculous that we have 50 different election law structures, and that in some places you have to register.
It's 51 as well, because Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, however, there's probably some territory elections as well that might count. But yeah, the idea of
good morning to American Samoa.
Yeah. That some places you do party registration so people can know that about you, and other places you don't. In some places you can vote in a primary without declaring your party affiliation. Other places it's an open primary. I mean, I understand the institutional, historical reasons for it, which is they started doing that before the invention of the United States Constitution anyway, right? All 13 colonies had their own voting systems. And I think as a consequence, that was just allowed to continue to fold out. And those structures were shaped by the time periods. You know, being out west, you know, you're fewer people, you have a more of a justification to do referendums. And so you see more referendums and sort of populist measures the farther west you go because of the kinds of times and people that develop those systems. But it just seems to me in the 21st century, and the thing is, Republicans don't want to federalize elections, but on the other hand, they're making a good case for federalizing elections here.
Yeah, they're the perfect example of why that would work better. But I think the problem they would have is that once you federalize it, you take away the rights of Mississippi to disenfranchise its black voters.
Yes. I mean, well, the thing is with a federal law, I think they're worried that that would provide federal oversight and even federal funds to make areas that have, let's say, polling deficiencies more targeted and better resourced. Whereas on the state level and the local levels, you can really be discriminatory. Yeah.
And let's be absolutely honest here, or absolutely forthright, earnest, if you will. Republicans don't oppose this on the basis of states' rights or opposing federal centralization or anything like that, because they've shown whenever it suits them, they're more than happy to consolidate the power in the hands of certain orange people, let's say. So they're not opposed to that in the slightest. The reason that they oppose the federalization of election law or election practices is precisely because the states in which Republicans run things, they pull all manner of shenanigans. I mean, look at the removal of postal voting places and ballot boxes, to the point where there was one county in Texas which was very, very significant in terms of geography that had one drop-off point. It's absolute nonsense. They literally, their entire strategy for remaining relevant on the national stage, because they can win local races in places in the South,
it's a low turnout,
is A, low turnout, and B, ensuring that things like the Electoral College never go anywhere. It's entirely by either literally gerrymandering or the spirit of gerrymandering that they are able to remain relevant on the national stage.
Yeah. John Doe in the chat writes, I still don't understand why it's not equal between different counties. They mention the state laws can be broadly interpreted, so you should be cured wherever. So my understanding from reading, so I read through the document and then I had to edit myself, so I heard it so many freaking times. So I think the issue when it comes to the equal protection clause, and Kevin, you can confirm if this was your understanding too, but the idea isn't so much that everyone has to go through the same process to be considered treated equally. What they want to know is, was there a deliberate attempt to treat one group differently from the other? And in here, it's not based on the campaigns being treated or voters being treated differently in different counties. The question was, were the campaigns treated differently? Did the campaigns receive different, not unequal treatment based on the county? Because if you can show that systematically, that Trump votes or Trump voters were targeted in ways that Biden and independent voters weren't, that's a violation of the Equal Protection Clause because it's not standard. Whereas in the Bush v. Gore decision, the state standard of the voter's intent, they didn't have a specific way to apply it equally to all hanging Chad ballots. And so that called for individual interpretation. So each ballot was being judged on a subjective structure. Whereas here in these counties, everyone in the county was treated the same, as opposed to being treated differently based on your partisanship. So that was my understanding of why you can cure in one area and not cure in the other. And that's not a violation of equal protection because everyone in that district is being treated the same.
Did you miss Rory Katz?
I did a little bit, but I'm sure everyone else was listening to or watching Rory Katz while I was talking. Absolutely, always get upstaged by Katz.
But I was listening, and you made a very good point. Yes,
and that was a surprise to me because I think too that if you just had a layperson's, like I did, understanding of equal protection, you would just think it would be being treated equally all the time. But it's not. It's if there is biased treatment within the same context, within the same playing field, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they will sound very strange to a lot of, like you say, to a lot of lay people. It certainly did to me. although nothing surprises me about the ridiculous labyrinthine bullshit of the American legal system. Although
true.
the British legal system is arguably far worse in many respects, but whatever. Yeah, it will sound very, very strange to a lot of people that that you can be in one county and have the cure procedure and then move 200 yards the other way across the county line, and then it's not. That doesn't seem like that's fair remotely, but it is what it is. I mean, the laws are what they are.
Yeah, and I also think that there is another tension in there, which was to try to not allow technicalities to be a reason to throw out valid votes.
Yeah.
And I think that is the overriding concern here. That if you had, okay, well, you've got these 2 counties and some people are allowed to cure their votes. What are you going to do? Throw out all the cured votes for the people who live in the county where how is that fair? You know, so if people voted in good faith, they shouldn't be punished because the system had some technical things, you know.
Yeah. That was the truly disgusting element of this. Like, it's funny because it's so absurd, which is why I decided to cover it, and why the judge, even Trump's appointed judge, had to essentially show him the ring hand, frankly. But the really disgusting element is that they were trying to throw out millions of people's legal votes. They weren't contending that any of those votes were fraudulently entered, but they were still trying to have them thrown out.
Exactly.
Which is, I mean, how do you not see that as the fundamentally anti-democratic abuse of the rights of the American people?
And that's what I don't get about all of these right-wing attacks on the system as being fraudulent, is what they're really trying to do. For all their claims about, you know, well, some of them loving America and loving her freedoms, they want to throw out millions of legitimate votes because they don't like the result, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. It's, so. Yeah, the concept that Trump and his ilk are putting out there about, we just want to make sure all the legal votes are counted and all the illegal votes. No, that's not true. I'm sorry. No. That right. You don't get to say that in public and then when it comes to court, then lie. And it's the kind of the disgusting bombast they show outside of court, and then when they get into court, they turn into these pathetic, simpering little so-and-sos that they just go, oh, no, there's no fraud, Mr. Judge Man. There's no fraud, and we're not alleged. But can you just give us the election, please?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can we just win? Can you just allow us to win, please? Pathetic.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, it really is, and that's why I think I think the reputable attorneys want nothing to do with this. Why they all jumped off the bandwagon and went, I think I'm just going to go back to my full-time legal practice and leave this alone.
It's no surprise that Giuliani ended up on this case because they scraped the bottom of the barrel because no proper lawyers would take it. That they dropped out, then they had to scrape below the bottom of the barrel, and then they dropped out. Then they hired a guy who I covered on my show. Is
that the one who got the Rona?
No. This was the guy that was he's a radio host, but he's also a lawyer. Who said that Trump had no case and that there was no real evidence. Trump then hired him for that case. Because he's a great businessman. He knows what's going on there.
Yeah.
And then ended up with Rudy Giuliani on the case because no lawyer in the world wants to go before a judge and say, we've got no evidence of anything, but can you just let us win? Because that's career suicide.
You know, it's bad when you're being cited in the decisions as the attorney trying to get the allegations of fraud out there, and you're the ones being cited. This is not a case of fraud.
Yeah, literally. Twice in the document. Yeah, twice in the document. It says lawyer for the appellees, the people bringing the case, saying this is not a fraud case.
Yes.
Again, it's the contrast, the bombastic way in which they'll say this is the most, replete fraud case ever. They've stolen the election, blah blah blah, and they get into court, and it's no, this isn't a fraud case,
fine.
And we've got no evidence of any actual irregularities or that any of these votes are illegal. But can you just let us win, please?
Yeah.
We just want to win.
And really good, before we go on to the next part, which is if you want to take a look at the Sidney Powell video from Sargon, or from Lotus Eaters, we'll check their website too. But the point that I thought was really good was that hadn't come out before and I hadn't heard before, But the Third Circuit Court of Appeals was like, why didn't you guys complain about this while people were curing their votes? I mean, you knew that this was happening the entire time, but it's only now after the result comes out and you've lost that you want to go through this process, and then you're mad because there's not enough time. You could have been challenging these cured ballots weeks ago. Yeah. And you didn't, because it was about the results, not about the process.
Well, before we start, before the Sargon video, can we do that tomorrow night on a show? Because I don't think I can make it through that without swearing a lot.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think that's like, I suggested that video before there was the no swearing rule in place.
Oh. Okay.
And I can't agree to not swear in that video because it's so ridiculous. But there's plenty we can look at. But there was, in terms of the court case, there was one absolutely delightful piece of sort of passive aggressive, I can't swear, female cattiness.
Okay.
Of the judge saying, female dogginess. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Of the judge saying, you wanted an expedited case because of time limits, so they wanted it to be done quickly, and on that basis, we're not going to hear oral arguments. So, in other words, we're not even going to allow you to talk here. You wanted a quick case, we're going to throw it out quick for you.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to, no motions for this, no oral arguments.
Which is, to be fair, like, you might say that's a bit cruel or a bit unfair or whatever, but courts know when their time's being wasted, and you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt and the niceties of the legal system when you're obviously abusing the legal system.
Mm-hmm.
And neither should you. This is not acceptable. Yeah.
By the way, I just checked on lotuseaters.com. Still not working.
Still not working.
Not working.
Well, you might notice that he's still advertising it under the videos.
Why?
Because he's an idiot. I think.
Well, he has gone back to putting his content on a COD Daily. I saw that he did a bit with John Cleese.
Naturally.
Yes, I can just pull up the title of it here. Oh my God, he's like, I'm not gonna post to this channel anymore. And now he's posting stuff constantly. So, yep. Oh my God, he did a remoralization stream?
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No, I haven't watched that.
Okay, so first it was not entirely successful launch about Lotus Eaters. And then it was, we're waiting. And that was 2 weeks ago. And then I'm still alive because... and the assurances that he wasn't going to post to this channel anymore. Since then, he's done 4 videos, including one yesterday, called "You Are Not Elite." Oh, is that? I think he's just restreaming his Lotus Eaters content on his COD Daily because they haven't even reached 100,000 subscribers.
Oh, bless. Bless.
So when I look, because he's got over 300,000, almost 400,000 on the COD Daily. But if you go to his Lotus Eaters, I think they're still in like the 70s. So I think he's trying to get some crossover.
Yeah, no one cares. You'll see in the video when we do it tomorrow. There's a level of pretentiousness
in that show
that even his fans are like, oh, well, no one cares. This is rubbish.
Yep. Yeah, it's got 72.9 thousand subscribers, whereas a COD Daily's got like 378,000, and they're just they're not coming over. They're not flooding into his self-indulgent, navel-gazing, up his own ass conversations. Like, he's not that brilliant a conversationalist, I think.
No, he's really not. Do you want to see some primo cringe?
Oh, you're going to share their screen with us?
Well, I can do if you wish. Yeah, I was just going to say you could look it up, but okay, I'll share.
Oh, I mean, if you've got it up, so.
Well, it's disabled.
Oh, sorry, because I wasn't. Yes. All right, multiple participants can share simultaneously. So yes, we can share our experiences simultaneously.
Yeah, this is my favorite cringe lord at the moment. I don't know if you're aware of this guy called Mike Blaze, and you'll see I'm trending there in the UK because I'm awesome. It's not Logan Paul at all. It's nonsense.
No.
Because did you see that Jake Paul had a celebrity boxing match against Nate Robinson, the former NBA player?
Oh God, no, he didn't. First, he did one against KSI, right? You probably
no, that was Logan Paul. This is Jake Paul, his younger brother, who fought Nate Robinson, who's a former NBA midget, basically.
All right.
And knocked him out. Yeah.
It's
a bit rough.
Let me. I've got to move my screen around a little bit. There we go. Okay, now everyone can see everything, and there's some blocking off of things that you don't need to see. So perfect, excellent. All right, so yes.
So this cringe could kill a horse.
Okay, very good. Let's hear it.
Shame on a rigger who tried to run game on a wigger. Get buck well with the trigger. Shame on a rigger who tried to run game on a wigger. Cuck south, fuck your ass up. Cuck 1, cuck 2, cuck 3. What? Call me your master, why? Cause you're a mutt. Magas unbreakable, shatterproof, confused Tommy Goose. You wanna get the gun? Shoot. Blow. How you like me now? Don't fuck the style. Ruthless, wow. Commies when they get their teeth knocked the fuck out. Maga get it home like that, so shut your mouth. Ah!
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to say that at least, all right, if I'm going to say, he obviously, he's ripping off a very famous artist here. I actually don't think his pronunciation, well, obviously he's doing also an impression. I don't actually think he's that bad of a rapper. He's just, his content is freaking cringe, and he's not very original. Like, if he worked on his own original stuff, maybe. Like, you would have taken that and put it on its own beat and done your own thing, then I would at least give you an ability. I would give you points for having timing and enunciation. But as that was, you're just rewording other people's work. So.
Charlie Chaplin reference in 2020 is very, very good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very current with the kids. How is he trying to steal the election? By getting people to vote? I mean, honestly, like, how is he trying to steal the election? No one has ever put together how this conspiracy worked, other than it's the ghost of Hugo Chavez.
Well, yeah, that's the answer. What more do you want? Do you want, like, evidence and stuff? Don't be silly. You sound just like those judges.
Imagine that. Oh my God, this just keeps going, huh?
Oh, there's loads. There's loads of this. I haven't even seen some of these. Is that
a light up rosary?
Yeah, with a light up Jesus. That's a light on Jesus's bits. Yeah.
Oh, please, let's hear this.
What do I love about Trump? I'ma tell you for the hell of it. He made a promise and he kept it, that's benevolent. The fake news and big tech, they're irrelevant. I love Trump, cause he's my peacetime president. President of all peacetime president. He want no beef, but if you bring it, he will represent. President of all my peacetime president. The president of every single U.S. resident. President of all my peacetime president. The fake news and big tech are irrelevant. President of my peacetime president.
Oh my. Oh my. Yikes. Yikes.
It's not even all rap.
Oh,
I'll get to...
please. That's probably the best part of in terms of it. If there's any country songs, I'm going to be...
This is...
racists who love to appropriate, black culture. It just like... we're just going to steal what... Well, I guess white people have been stealing what they want in the United States for ages, so...
I was about to say the United States was stolen, so I mean...
Yeah.
So, again, this is cringe that could, I think, possibly do genocide, frankly. This is him appropriating white culture as well now.
Oh, great. Oh, what?
I love at one point as well, a postal worker just walking past and ignores him.
Oh, this is gross. That's awful. It's basically like hopping around with a flag, making sure it doesn't touch the ground. That's just...
Yeah.
That's the effect from TikTok, guys. Okay, thanks. Yeah, the sparkle effect on the thing is a TikTok. Yes, thank you. But I mean, they've got it. It lights up in the video. So.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you want to hear Jump Around Ruined?
Oh no! Didn't we do this one already?
Oh, did we? Sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we did this one. I'm gonna tap out of that. Oh God, what's this one?
Yeah, right. Too late? Sure. Eat this.
Oh God, no! No! White boy, stop! White boy, stop! Oh God! Oh, really? I mean, you're gonna show you're racist? You're not racist by stealing a black artist's work.
And sometimes he just does pretentious nonsense.
The fraud is on a scale never before seen. If there's one thing I know, it is that God never lets cheaters win. In fact, now the world will see exactly who we were dealing with. Something dark. Something that has no care for this election nor for the people. They're in trouble, these people. Hunter's laptop showing Biden's deals. These people had to steal the election. They had no choice because for them, darkness comes soon. Retribution is on its way. Donald Trump won the election. Jesus is so...
This is terrifying to me. I mean, this is like Christian terrorists.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's Christian terrorists doing Michael Jackson tributes as well, which is really strange, but there we go.
Yes.
So I think I'm definitely going to have to do a Mike Blaze Cringe compilation special. I've already done a Randy Quaid one, and this guy, because he's just, every video is just pure, unadulterated cringe. So I might have to
that
do that.
Is, yeah. Oh my God, he's only got 500 followers. You're going to have more people watch him on your compilation cringe video. You're going to get him followers.
Well, possibly so, I suppose. But, I mean, I can't not. Hang on, how do I? No, I don't. No, I want to get back to the fucking screen. Oh, I just swore. Apologies. Yeah. I can't turn down cringe like that. That's just perfect.
Oh yeah, that is pretty nice.
So funny.
Really good stuff.
Well, he's dancing around as Trump with a flag. What the flip? Really?
All right. Well, here's the thing. I know we're only 40 minutes in, but I need a break because I've been drinking a lot of coffee today. So, either we can end the show now or we can take a break and come back. But I am dying here.
I don't mind either way. It's your show. You call the shots.
All right. I'm trying to decide because I'm very uncomfortable right now. It's hard to think when you're super uncomfortable. Do you have other stuff I'm just wondering if you have other stuff you want to talk about? Because yeah, the Randy Quaid was horrid. I'm sure this Mike Blaze one will be even worse.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff we can talk about.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna switch over to my music so we're off the screen so Kevin can relax a little bit. And I'm gonna go top up my coffee and have a little stretch of my legs. So I will be back. We'll be back in like under 5 minutes. So hang around if you want. Otherwise, you can get on with your day. But yeah, we're gonna head back to the pre-show. everyone. I am back. Go ahead and share the screen that we've got. Yeah. So, how was your break, Kevin?
Very well. It was good. I had a quick wank, obviously.
Right, yes, with your War Corpse video, obviously.
Yeah, naturally.
Yes. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about things that we could talk about in the last part of the show before we get going. And by the way, I want to say a quick thank you to Graham Elliott. Good morning, everyone. It's early in the U.S. Well, thanks for waking up with Christy and Kevin in the morning.
On 905 WMTZ.
Yes. So do you want to explain what we were looking at there? Just a second.
That was a genuine picture, colorized, from the Alta conference of Joe Biden Uwu. Not Joe Biden, Joe Stalin Uwu.
Yeah.
As a rabbit king, which is exactly what he was.
There you go.
That's just true. That's a fact. As a lead into the thing you want to talk about,
yeah,
and it's very much relevant to it.
Cool.
How certain people from the right who have come over to the left, I think this is a perfect crystallization of that. I've talked about before. These people have remained the same bigoted so-and-sos, but have just added Marxist economics.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And this is Hunter Avalone. With a I Melt Snowflakes t-shirt.
Okay.
Saying Workers of the World Unite.
All right, here we go. Workers of the world, unite.
Perfect.
Great.
Literally the perfect distillation of the point I make. Yeah.
Yep. So let me get to the point that I was making. I think, someone sent this to me. I'm sorry, I should give credit to whoever it was, but I haven't. I've got a naughty word on there though. But yeah, this is your point that it's I don't know. I can share my screen with you, can't I? That would make it easier for you to see.
Rory Tail.
Rory Tail in the shadows. Yeah, very good. I'm arranging my screen here a little bit so that I can get everything I need. All right. And the last thing is...
Has someone been having coffee?
Yes. Hey. All right. Now you can see yourself. That's... yeah, there you are. You're a little Kev. There you are. And there's little Christy in there as well. Actually, what I can do is move myself closer to you and make this bigger. But yeah, was it Mike maybe who sent this to me? And then I ended up retweeting it out. But this is June... I wish they wouldn't have cut this off. I always like to have the dates on there as independent verification. I understand.
3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days from when, whenever it was taken.
The screenshot. Yeah.
Exactly, which is harder. But yeah, it's not really over. It's only just begun.
Well, I can look that up for you while you talk.
Okay. Yeah, because actually she hasn't blocked me anymore, but I don't actually pay that much attention to her account. Megas, you can join us bullying Biden for 4 years of neoliberal hell world. Whenever you are comfy coming over, we saved you a seat. That's a really progressive left. Yeah. Let's talk about bullying people. That's super left. Because that's how you win arguments, is you bully people. I mean, it just, like you said, it's a little insight into the fact that the shitlordery never ended. They just got a Marxist economic framework.
Yeah, that's precisely what it is. Yeah, it's so. How do I say this without swearing? Yeah, here it is from November the 24th, by the way.
Oh, okay. November 24th is when she sent it out. How continually disappointing June is.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's say the phrase bully is slightly over the top when essentially what they're, I think, talking about is trying to pressure the Biden presidency into doing things you want, which is ultimately a part of democracy as well. You don't just vote and then sit back, because that's a recipe for disaster. But when you're talking specifically with Pepe people,
yes,
you have to be pretty precise in your use of language. And this is the point I've made about this being essential. I mean, I'm not even saying that June isn't or whatever, but she knows her audience, so she's talking to a large portion of her audience, and it's it's how do I put this? It's essentially right-wing entryism. It's if you're more concerned with converting fascists than you are with protecting people from fascists, that gives me a fair indication as to where your headspace is at.
Yeah.
And, not a healthy or productive one, or certainly not one that I can feel comfortable like allying with.
Yeah, I guess if we were to do a comparison, right? So June hates the DNC and the Democratic Party, and she wants to be able to criticize from the left the establishment. But she also wants to ally with MAGAs in order to attack the Democratic Party. Whereas I see the Democratic Party as the alternative to fascism, and I am willing to ally with Never Trumpers to protect, to promote the Democratic Party and reform the Republican Party. It just shows you the two different. I mean, they basically want. June still hates the left. She's still going. She's still more concerned with destroying the left than she is with actually pointing out what's the problem on the right and the threat they are.
Yeah, when Liz Warren is a snake, but fascists who just happen to not be pro-war are your people.
Rand Paul.
Again, I know exactly. I know where your headspace is at, and that's disgusting.
Yeah. So no, she might be economically left, but she doesn't actually get progressivism. If she thinks, if her instinct is to reach out to the white racists, the white supremacist racists in Trump world, before actual progressives and people in the black community, like Democrats in the Democratic Party who are the base of the party and understand why they didn't vote for Sanders last time. It just shows how she's in a white bubble, in a white supremacist bubble at that. So yeah, here's a hate the establishment, think libs are annoying, hate war, hate woke advertising, think Clinton is a demon, like free speech, like guns, you're halfway there.
But this is the thing. MAGAs don't hate those things. I'm sorry. They will profess to, but that's obviously a joke. I mean, they do, to be fair, they do like guns.
They love their guns.
I will give them that. And
but
they do think libs are annoying.
They are the white supremacist, institutionalized racism establishment.
Yeah. Exactly. They can't hate war if they like Trump. Trump has been consistently saber-rattling the whole time. He literally had to be talked down from bombing Iran last week by Mike flipping Pompeo.
Of all the people, yeah.
All the people. Hate woke advertising. No, they just prefer a bald eagle making love to an apple pie type. Yeah. That's their version of woke advertising. Yeah. So I don't care. Think Hillary Clinton is a demon. Again, that's over the top, but considering that people like Alex Jones have literally said that she's a demon, and that that Pizzagate is a thing where they go on about demonic baby eating and things, you really ought to be a lot more careful with your use of language, and they clearly don't like free speech. Donald Trump has curtailed free speech in a number of ways.
Yeah. And of course they love their guns because they like to bring them to protests and shoot people with them. It's just all the reasons why I've side-eyed June, this just confirms it. And I don't think the way that she's given sort of a pass, a bigot pass by the dirtbag left people in order to get her audience. But let's face it, those people aren't interested in really learning what black voters in Mississippi or Kansas or in Georgia think, because they think they know what's already best for them, and that you should vote the way that I want you to as a white progressive in this specific way. And if you disagree with me, then you're a low information voter. You're just being used by the DNC. You don't have your own autonomy to make decisions on your own because you're not agreeing with me. And this is why they end up being marginalized. This is why they're not mainstream, because they choose to farm themselves off into a little section that is based on hate. They're competing for the hate vote, really.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but a lot of people will talk about trying to be politically efficacious, and that makes a lot of sense. But when you're essentially just also trying to be one of the cool kids club on the internet, that's not going anywhere long term at all. It's just not. And you can tell that that's the case because it never translates. If that were the case, Ron Paul would have been president and Bernie Sanders would have been president.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of them got anywhere near.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about the last time we hung out together about Vosh telling people that they were like, marginalizing themselves while actually doing that exact same thing. And yeah, I guess, in some places it's a grievance. Like there's a lot of money to be made in grievance content. To be the outsider, sort of like Trump is always trying to be the outsider and always be victim of a conspiracy. As opposed, and it's when you say, okay, let's compromise and work with people in the center. Let's find moderate Republicans. It's a much more difficult thing to do than to be ideologically pure and just piss on everything. Or crap on everything. It's much harder to make the compromises and get 20% now and aim for 10% more in the future. That takes work and effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's what ultimately gets stuff done is, outside of revolution or whatever, but anyone pretending America's going to have a revolution is a larpy fool who needs to be ignored, or a dangerous idiot who needs to be watched by the authorities, frankly. So in order to actually get anything done, you're going to need not just a few Republicans, but you're going to need like Joe Manchin and people like that on side. You're going to need purple people, so to speak. Hamburglar people, if you will.
Here's the thing. You can't just appeal to the people who already agree with you. I know that's a radical idea in politics.
Yeah, I know. But that's what gets clicks is feeding into the preconceived ideas of your audience.
Yeah, the intransigent side of things.
Yeah. You just say what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rather than what they need to hear and what would actually be useful going forward.
And I don't want to say, obviously she was guilty of this. I've never stopped side-eyeing her because I just I've never believed her conversion is real. And this is the kind of stuff that just validates my opinion. But you also see it on the right, like this whole attack on the integrity of the election in the US and calling it fraudulent despite there being no evidence. We're getting into the territory where you end up destroying your own democracy. Because you destroy the mechanisms. You don't like the result, and so you attack the process. As opposed to saying, okay, what could we do better next time to appeal to more voters? You just say you were cheated. And the more that people stop believing in the process, that's actually like a positive feed loop to the destruction of democracy.
I think there was some people, and I'm not entirely sure June was part of this because I think she did eventually say she was going to vote for Biden, although living in New York means it's irrelevant, but whatever.
Yeah, but I think that was like a temporary truce so that she could get back to them.
I think it perfectly summed up. Yeah, very possibly so, but I'm just saying there are worse examples like Jimmy Dore, who I've grown to despise, who after Bernie Sanders lost in the primary in 2020 are suffering from like kind of copium burnout where they just can't get past that, and to the point where their entire political ideology now is based around just hating the Democratic Party. That's it. Now, if you oppose what the Democratic Party stands for or whatever, that's fine, and people who are like communists or whatever, that will be the case. And that's fine. But if all you're doing is going on Tucker Carlson, as Jimmy Dore has a couple of times, and basically doing faux populism and just attacking the Democratic Party, how are you any better than a Trump spokesperson?
I'm in agreement, and especially in a first past the post system. I think that I understand. There's the Democrats are a broad tent. We're a very heterogeneous group. Unlike Republicans, we aren't sort of the modal or the median voter is not like generally a cis, white, straight, evangelical, guy. That is basically like your typical Republican voter. Democrats have a pretty wide range. And as a consequence, it's much harder to get a single message out. But I think the problem is that too many people on the left think their message is the only message. And being in a coalition means that you have to listen to other people's, and it's not just like showing up at a Black Lives Matter rally and then pressing out flyers on veganism. Like, that's not, like, that's not the kind of thing. Actually listen to your allies and being an ally, as opposed to thinking, oh, these are the people that should be working for me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, there was Grimace, not the hamburger. Apologies. Apologies. I should have just gone with Barney. Barney the dinosaur. Yeah,
yes.
Would have worked. Anyway, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know the point you're making there, and this is the problem I have with a lot of these people who quote unquote convert the right. I'm not saying you can't convert fascists. You absolutely can. I've met them in my actual real life, not just online. People who were out and out neo-Nazis who became genuinely good people, and some who just became a lot less racist, at least, which is something. So that can happen. But when you're welcoming this kind of unconverted, and they are absolutely unconverted, if you're still the woke advertisement's the real problem, I'm sorry, you're not a worthwhile person as far as I'm concerned. When you're welcoming that kind of detritus into the left-wing spaces, that they're going to be obviously harmful to marginalized people in these spaces, is it any wonder those marginalized people want nothing to do with you?
Yeah. Again, look at the scolding that Vosh gave people who were hurt or offended by Ollie's, I think, insensitive remark and thoughtless and embarrassing, right? If that's your big enemy, is like, no, we've got to control these people over here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but as people doing overt racism, but also are against war, they're fine. Yeah. Just let that pass. That doesn't need to be mentioned or commented on. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because that would be divisive,
Yeah, yes. And people go, oh, it's so obvious that fascists are bad. Well, but there's a lot of them, and you could explain it, but... someone said here, I guess Tony said, honest question because I'm troubled by it. How does the MAGA's response differ from the response about Brexit and Trump winning? Is it the evidence? Because technically the Russian part is unproven. Let's see. How does the MAGA response differ from the response about Brexit and Trump winning? Do you remember when the information about Russian interference in the Brexit election, it came out only after the result, well after the result, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I think, to be fair, I mean, there were some people who were pushing to overturn the Brexit result. That is definitely true. And I always thought that was pretty undemocratic in some respects. But, I mean, ultimately, I think a lot of people were asking for, like, another referendum, which is dumb. But I don't think anyone was literally saying that those votes were fraudulent. I think it's the main fundamental difference. They were saying they were tricked into voting a wrong way by Russian bots and
manipulative
misinformation.
Advertising.
Yeah. But I don't think anyone was literally saying it was like a fraudulent vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of, for instance, I think Trans Gamer Girl has, they're on the bus, the Boris bus. That people could make the most ridiculous, outrageous claims. Like, hey, if we leave the EU, everyone's going to get a pony and £50,000 as a gift. And there's nothing you could do to, like, say that wasn't, you could try to counter it. But there was no consequences, really, for it.
Yeah, the thing that undermines it, of course, is that was true on both sides. I mean, David Cameron saying that this Brexit would risk a third world war. That's a disgusting thing to say. And would mean that you, as Prime Minister, allowing this referendum to happen in the first place are phenomenally irresponsible. Yeah. If it could lead to a third world war, which obviously it couldn't, you fool.
Yeah. I mean, he's not well, I think in history, because Brexit and the vote takes up so much time, like his utter failings and his political miscalculation. He expected another coalition. He thought that the Lib Dems would be like his goalies at the net, and that they would kind of catch the puck of Brexit, and then they ended up getting knocked out because they were traitors in a lot of people's eyes for making the coalition, and then he's stuck with this hockey puck coming right at him, and he's just going to have to let it go through the net because he said he would. Is that all right? Is my hockey analogy okay there?
Yeah, that'll do. We'll let it pass.
All right.
Yeah. To Tony in the chat, they say, I just feel that the cringe/copium thing is the same as the liberal tears thing, and we've become what we hated. To the first part,
I think it's a bit ironically, yes. I mean, but
it is precisely
it's self-aware.
That. Yeah. I'm putting these compilations together specifically as a juxtaposition to exactly what these people were doing. I'm focusing on that specifically to teach them a lesson and say, this is what you did. Okay. And it's not that we've become what we hated,
It's a
because
conscious
I'm not
irony.
attacking innocent people who have a political disagreement. I'm attacking fascists. People who are ranting in the streets about George Soros and the ghost of Hugo Chavez are lunatics. Those people need to be watched and taken down a peg and need to be shown for the fools they are. I'm not attacking your average Republican or even conservative or whatever. That's not at all the issue. And so to say that we've become what we hated is ludicrous, frankly, as far as I'm concerned.
I think the other part of it too is that most of the people like Big Red and whoever, like those people were sort of plucked out of an anonymity and turned into memes. Whereas the content you're putting up there is what people put up publicly. They're recording themselves doing this, or this is their content. And yeah, I definitely see this as a sort of like satirical critique of something that they sold sincerely, and it's being repackaged as a mirror, but with content that people are making themselves, as opposed to finding someone to bully, which is what they did to feminists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm not even bullying these people. Because I'm not bullying at all. It's, and not just me, I think in general. I can't speak to anyone else's motivations, but I suspect that a great many of the people are doing this. You are indulging in a certain catharsis. There's no doubt about that. But after 4 years, I don't think that's unjustified or undeserved. Just to let off a little bit of steam, because this has been a difficult 4 years.
Yeah.
So I've got no problem with that at all. And it's not bullying. It's literally pointing out. And hopefully the long-term implication of that is that they go, oh, actually, is this the way we made people feel? That's not cool. And maybe they tone it down a little bit.
If nothing else, like I said, they might not get it, but at least they know that we can make them look bad as well.
Yeah.
And turn it around. You know, that this isn't just a one-way street, that you guys do just as much. I mean, that's why in my reading out loud video is like Trump destroyed in all caps, because it is playing on that, you know, cringe compilation destroyed feminist trope that was so popular 2014, 2015, 2016.
Yeah. That is literally what I'm doing with my cringe compilations. They're literally that.
Yeah.
That's precisely what they are, is a mirror to them saying, this is what you have. This is what you have become. This is what you are. And also, I'm not doing this out of in the same way. Look, with Trump people, they've made their love of Trump their entire world. Or anti-SJWs make cringe their compilations their entire shtick. Whereas I'm just putting out a few videos, and it's fun, and they seem to be rather popular. So fuck it, it's a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's not like your entire channel is feminist owned or, MAGA owned, and you have nothing else to say except to demean and mock people. You've got that jokes. Yeah, you've got that too. You've got some commentary on top of that. All right. Well, we've gone for about a little over an hour now. My Sunday shows are a bit shorter because I think people are more likely to watch them if they.
Well, in general, you're a bit shorter, yeah.
And I am a bit shorter. I also have usually 3 hours of gaming to do on a Sunday night. So, and we've got a movie to watch.
We have. We're going to be watching Obamaland.
Kevin's got a pick, so this is his pick for this time. But before we go, is there anything else? I guess we're going to do trash movies in the near future, but do you have any more compilations in mind? You mentioned the one.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to put together the Mike Blaze one because it's too beautiful. I've got a Rage one, which is people shouting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is coming out. I was hoping to have that out today, but I haven't even started editing it, so that's not happening. Because I had things to do, and I did a stream yesterday because I thought this is the problem with Trump, right? If you remember, I did the Trump dump at the very, very start, but it's impossible to keep up with him.
It's too much.
There's so much. There's such a torrent of sewerage that it's difficult to keep up, and so you have to get on something when it's happening, because 2 days down the line, I was thinking I'll do that Monday, But by Monday, the story's completely moved on, and that's irrelevant now. So I thought, well, I'll do it today then.
God, how
yes,
so? You've
yesterday.
so now that means you streamed 7 days in a row at least, right?
Certified streamer, 7 days a week.
Make your cringe compilation game week. All right.
No, my cringe compilation.
No. Make their cringe compilation.
I'll make their. Yeah. That's absolutely yeah.
That's true. All right. Well, then we'll keep an eye out on your channel for your continual, terminally online. I think is that what Peter Coffin would call you? Terminally online.
Almost certainly, yes. Almost certainly. But he calls you Christy with an E, Winters.
That's true.
I mean,
yes. And I don't know, like I know Vosh thinks I'm crazy, and I can't remember. Is Peter think I'm crazy too, or what was Peter's insult? I can't remember. Just a liberal, probably.
You were like Movie Bob, so evil. I think.
Oh, okay, right.
I think that's how it works. Yeah, and of course we'll be on tomorrow watching a Sargon video and being very sweary.
Right, yes, I haven't. Should I live react to that? Should I hold off and keep my Sargon Lotus Eaters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't need to do a great deal of research to debunk this one.
Probably not. But I think it is good that we call out people who are hurting democracy. Because
they are hurting democracy.
They
that
are.
Is true.
Unlike the accusation that I'm hurting politics.
You are hurting politics.
The Liberal Sanity Project. Sargon and I don't know, is Tim Pool still on the conspiracy? Did he get off the conspiracy?
Oh yeah, no, he is absolutely. Yeah. He's still. I think he's trying to hedge his bets because he knows that it's. He knows that this is over. It's literally the transition has begun. I mean, it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
But also needs to placate the copium addicts who make up the majority of his audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're doing the kind of, they found 4 votes in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. This is a sign of the fraud.
I was trying to walk the both sides of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly, because he's a radical centrist.
Yes.
That's his entire shtick.
So I think we should, keep on and do some critiques of these hackers, or not hackers, these conmen who are trying to make money at the expense of actual democracy. Before we go, I'm just going to check lotuseaters.com, see if the website is up. Maybe they've got a special Sunday surprise for us. No, I didn't mean that. I mean Lotus Eaters. Just freaking put it in the address box. It really doesn't even want to go to the website. So of course it's still down.
No, it's down.
Of course it's still down. All right, so check on Kevin's channel where he is permanently streaming. And hi to Bruce.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
All content, all the time. The K-Man is absolutely killing it.
Thanks to Color Connection, Trans Gamer Girl, Graham Elliott, A to Decay, Darius, Lonely Wolf. I said Bruce already. Rory Katz. Who else? Cat. Tony.
It was not a cat. Rory Katz is not a cat. It's a human being pretending to be my cat.
Lucky Wanderer. And I think Alyssa as well. Anyone that I missed?
I can't help but feel offended and slighted, frankly, that Christy has engaged or encouraged this nonsense by making this imposter a moderator on this channel.
You need more mods. I came over to your channel yesterday to listen to your stream, and then I realized you were going to read out the same decision that I just spent the last 4 hours working on the video.
I don't need to hear that nonsense.
I was like, I know this case. I'm fine with it. But I think it was Tony was the only mod in your room. You really need to add some mods on your channel.
Well, I could, right? But I don't like people.
Oh, hey, Subwolf. Right. Why would make our lives easier?
Yeah.
And, I think me and Tony were the only mods. That's also a lot of moderating to do when you get...
Or they could just not. I don't care.
Just go by.
No,
Sean House.
I'll need
Emma.
to. Yeah, I'll need to.
Pandanus Rex. I'm just yelling out people's names now.
Yeah, I'll add some more moderator people tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
People remind me, because I do forget all of the things.
Yes, I'll try. I do think of it occasionally and think about telling you during the show, but then I figure you're gonna just shout me down as to why this is not a good time to do moderators. But maybe we could have like a little moderators in his wrap up at the end.
Well, you went very urban there.
Yes, yes. Sorry. All right. Okay, we're gonna go get ready, or at least make arrangements to watch a movie after this. And yeah, see us back over on Kevin's channel, either on Twitch or on YouTube. Ish, if you haven't subscribed to, of course, he's got more subscribers than me, so you should already be subscribed. But if you aren't subscribed to him on Twitch, go give him some love. And until next time, it is goodbye from me and goodbye from the Kevster. Say goodbye, Kevster.
Goodbye, Kevster.
Hey, did the bit.
Did the bit.
Bye.